You are listening to an exclusive horror story on the Masia YouTube channel. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. The first day of the new school year dawns bright and hopeful at Tan Hoa High School. Students chatter excitedly, a sea of uniforms moving through the corridors, all eager for the promise of a fresh start. Yet this year, change is in the air. Due to ongoing renovations, the 11th grade is being moved to the seldom used Block B, a part of the school that whispers of forgotten history. As Tuan walks towards the new location, his footsteps echo slightly in the deserted corridor of Block B. The air here feels different, heavier, maybe even a touch colder. He glances around, noting the peeling paint and dusty windowsills. His classmates are a few steps ahead, their voices bouncing off the walls as they approach their new classroom, room 3.9. Tuan enters room 3.9, immediately struck by its neglected condition. Desks are scattered unevenly, some with broken legs, others with old scribblings etched into their surfaces. The air is stale, filled with the faint scent of dust and forgotten memories. As his eyes adjust to the dim light filtering through grimy windows, he notices something, or someone, unusual. At the very back of the room, a girl sits alone, an aura of stillness surrounding her. Tuan feels a shiver run down his spine as he regards the girl at the back desk. There's something about her presence, as if she belongs to a different time, a different world. Her eyes are downcast, her expression inscrutable. He wonders if she senses his gaze, but she remains motionless, detached from the chatter and excitement that fills the room. The classroom was buzzing with the usual morning chatter as Tuan settled into his seat. His eyes wandered, and there, at the back desk, he noticed a girl he'd never seen before. She sat quietly, her presence haunting and enigmatic. Her long, dark hair cascaded over her shoulders, and her eyes, deep and sorrowful, seemed to tell 1,000 stories of their own. Tuan felt a strange pull towards her, as if an invisible thread connected them. He hesitated, but then approached her with tentative steps. "Hi, I'm Tuan," he introduced himself, his voice barely above a whisper. The girl looked up, her piercing gaze meeting his. "I'm Lan," she replied softly, her voice echoing like a distant memory. As the bell rang, signaling the start of class, Miss Hang entered the room with her usual authoritative presence. She began taking attendance, her eyes scanning the room as she called each student's name. Tuan waited, listening intently for Lan's name, but it never came. He glanced back, confusion knotting his brow. Turning his head towards the back desk, Tuan's heart dropped. The seat was empty, as if Lan had never been there. He blinked, rubbing his eyes in disbelief. The chatter around him continued, oblivious to his growing unease. Was it just his imagination, or was there something more to the mysterious girl named Lan? In the dim glow of his study lamp, Tuan sat hunched over his desk, his eyes scanning through pages of the dusty 2022 yearbook. His fingers flicked through the pages, each turn a step closer to unveiling a secret buried in the past. "There she is," he murmured to himself, his voice echoing in the stillness of the room. The photograph captured a girl named Phuong Lan, seated at the back desk of her classroom. Unlike the other students, clustered together in laughter and chatter, Lan sat alone, a noticeable distance from her peers. Her eyes bore a quiet intensity, a mystery wrapped in solitude. But who was she really? Tuan wondered aloud, his curiosity piqued as he lingered over the image of a girl who seemed to speak volumes without uttering a single word. Later that day, Tuan met with his friend Duong at their usual spot under the sprawling banyan tree. "I found something, Duong," Tuan began, excitement and a hint of apprehension in his voice. Her name was Phuong Lan, and she sat at the back desk, alone. Duong's eyes widened slightly, a shadow of recognition crossing his face. "I've heard stories about that desk," he replied, his tone suddenly hushed. "They say a student vanished from there." Tuan leaned in, the thrill of discovery mingled with a tinge of fear. "Vanished? What do you mean, vanished?" Duong hesitated, glancing around as if the whispers of the past might hear them. "She disappeared one day, just like that. No one knows what happened to her." The mystery deepened as Tuan sat alone that evening, the weight of what he had learned settling in. He replayed Duong's words in his mind, the idea of a student vanishing hanging like a specter over his thoughts. "How can someone just disappear?" he muttered, the room around him silent except for the distant hum of city life. His gaze drifted back to the yearbook on his desk, the photograph of Lan now a haunting reminder of the unsolved enigma. I have to know more. Tuan resolved, determination sparking in his eyes. The past wasn't just a story to be forgotten, it was a puzzle begging to be solved, and he felt drawn to it, compelled to uncover the truth about the girl at the back desk. In the shadowy recesses of Tuan's mind, the nightmare begins to unfurl with an unsettling clarity. The air is thick and suffocating, and Tuan finds himself in a dimly lit classroom. Lan stands before him, but her visage is distorted, terrifying. Her once gentle eyes now hollow, echoing a deep, sorrowful plea. Her voice, a haunting whisper, permeates the oppressive silence. Do not forget me. Do not let me fade away. Tuan jolts awake, a cold sweat clinging to his skin. His heart pounds as he sits up in bed, the remnants of the nightmare lingering in his thoughts. It's the third night in a row, each dream more vivid than the last. He runs a trembling hand through his hair, the echo of Lan's plea still ringing in his ears. He whispers to himself, "Why can't I escape this?" The classroom is abuzz with the usual chatter as students settle into their seats. However, a palpable tension hangs in the air. Suddenly, the room falls silent as a piece of chalk begins to move on its own across the blackboard. Words materialize slowly, spelling out, "Remember me." Gasps ripple through the class, students exchanging bewildered and fearful glances. Tuan's heart races, recognizing the message as another echo of his haunting dreams. A new student, unaware of the classroom's strange occurrences, takes a seat at the back desk. Almost immediately, their face pales and a look of distress crosses their features. Beads of sweat form on their forehead as they mutter, "There's something here. It feels so cold." Without warning, they collapse, slumping over the desk, triggering a flurry of panic and confusion among the students. Tuan stood at the threshold of Lan's past, a silent observer, as he flipped through the pages of her journal. His heart ached with each turn, a heavy throb in the quiet of his room. Here was Lan, recorded in ink and paper, her thoughts echoing in the silence. In the journal, Lan's words painted a vivid picture of a gifted but lonely student. She wrote of her days at school, where her intelligence set her apart, but also isolated her. Peers, unable to understand her brilliance, turned to mockery and exclusion. Her solitude was palpable, a silent scream written between lines. Lan's voice emerged from the pages, revealing her fear of disappearing entirely, her dread of being forgotten. Her longing for connection was a plea, a desperate wish scribbled in the margins. "Will anyone remember me when I'm gone?" she had asked, her words a haunting whisper. Tuan felt the sting of tears welling up, unbidden. He brushed them away, but the connection was unmistakable. Her pain resonated with his own, a reflection of his inner battles with loneliness. For a moment, Tuan was not alone. Lan's sorrow was his own. The night is thick with silence as Tuan stands before the door of room 3.9, his heart pulsing with an inexplicable urge. He hesitates for a moment, the weight of the unknown pressing against his chest. But something compels him forward, a whisper in the back of his mind urging him to turn the knob. The door opens with a soft creak, revealing the familiar shadows within. Inside, the air is cooler, carrying an unsettling chill that wraps around him like a shroud. Tuan's eyes scan the room, landing on the back desk where Lan used to sit. There she is, her form ethereal and glowing softly in the darkness, as if the stars themselves have woven her presence. Lan's eyes meet his, filled with a depth of longing and timeless sorrow. Lan's voice, delicate yet resonant, echoes in the silence. "You came, Tuan. You're the only one who sees me." Her words hang in the air, each syllable a testament to her loneliness, her desire to be acknowledged. Tuan steps closer, his voice barely a whisper. "I see you, Lan. I always have." The connection between them is palpable, a bridge spanning the chasm of life and death. Lan smiles, a bittersweet curve of her lips as she confides, "I've been waiting to be remembered. I didn't want to fade away like I never existed." Her voice trembles slightly, the admission raw and vulnerable. Tuan nods, determination lacing his tone. "I promise, Lan. I won't forget you. You'll always be here." He places a hand over his heart, sealing the vow. With Tuan's words, a calmness washes over Lan, her form beginning to shimmer like a mirage in the night. Her spirit, once bound by loneliness, now free to dissolve into the ether. "Thank you, Tuan," she whispers, her voice a gentle breeze that drifts through the room. Slowly, she fades, her presence slipping away with the soft rustle of leaves in the wind, until nothing remains but the quiet hum of the night. As the first light of dawn filters through the classroom window, it reveals the back desk, now covered in a delicate blanket of white chrysanthemums. Their petals catch the morning sun, casting soft shadows on the wooden surface. Who left this mysterious tribute to Lan? The room is silent, save for the faint rustle of the flowers swaying gently in the breeze. Miss Hang enters the room, her eyes immediately drawn to the flowers. She pauses, her expression a mixture of surprise and sadness. Taking a deep breath, she begins to speak, her voice tinged with emotion. Lan was more than just a student, she confesses, her gaze fixed on the blooms. She was my niece, but I failed to be there for her. I regret the isolation she felt, the solitude that surrounded her. Her words hang heavy in the air, a revelation that explains the depth of her sorrow. Later, Tuan sits alone in the school library, flipping through an old yearbook. He stops at a page and traces his finger over a photograph. It's Lan, but this time she's not alone. She's surrounded by friends, smiling, a stark contrast to the isolation she once knew. I wish we'd seen her sooner, Tuan murmurs to himself, reflecting on how he and others played a role in her story, how their efforts brought her some joy, even if briefly. The chapter closes with a lingering view of the classroom, the back desk still adorned with chrysanthemums. There's a sense of peace now, a quiet acknowledgement of Lan's presence and the impact she left behind. Though she's gone, her memory endures, woven into the fabric of the lives she touched.